We're back on the sofa in the Tri 24/7 lounge, and now I have with me Kate Giles from Crewroom. Good morning, Kate.
Good morning. Well, it's afternoon now. Actually.
It's only afternoon when you've had your lunch.
Yeah, I have had my lunch. What are you going to have for your lunch?
I don't know. It depends what Tri 24/7 have got on the menu.
Oh, it's exciting, isn't it?
And of course, it is still morning for you because your body's still somewhere over the Atlantic.
Yeah, it is. I do seem to be. I'm trying to actually work out the time zone at the moment, so. Yeah, it's before 6 o'clock in the morning anyway.
Yeah, it's 7:40.
Yeah.
In New York.
Yeah, it is. But I was getting used to being over in California, so that's 8 hours. Yeah.
Okay, and significantly colder here as well.
Yeah, it is a lot colder. Yeah, it's slightly. Hence, I've got a slight tan from coming back. My skin was a bit see-through when I went over there. Looked a bit like Daniel Radcliffe, and I was. Yeah, I sort of bumped into all the Oscar people going out there at the same time.
Oh, nice. So you travel in different circles and higher circles in triathlon?
It wasn't necessarily higher circles, but I'm a little bit taller. When you bumped into Daniel Radcliffe, who's 5'4", I did feel significantly taller. Yeah, but hence to say I actually ended up in the industrial area of California, and he went upwards towards LA, So
sort of he turned left, you turn right?
Yeah, exactly. I was keeping it real.
Okay, well look, we're not here to talk about that other lot in the film industry. We're here to talk about some of your endeavours. You've got this product that you created, which came about as a result of a sort of something that a lot of athletes would consider to be catastrophic, really, but often can bring around a change in direction. So tell us a little bit about that.
That was a few years when I was actually rowing. I'm trying to think. I'm not going to tell you how long ago it was because it's going to make me look really old. So it was last year, let's say. No, it was about 12 years ago when I was actually rowing in London, and then it was one of those May kind of times of year where it was absolutely pleasant when I went out, and then there was squally weather. Got absolutely drenched. I was carrying a bit of a cough anyway, and then when I came back. I just couldn't warm up, and that's when I ended up, unfortunately, a few days into it, sort of with full-blown pneumonia, which wasn't the best part of my life. But yeah, but from that point, it was actually a few years after I actually retired from rowing. I actually decided to set up my own sportswear brand, and from that point it was always an unusual way because it was always the fabrics first, and I could never find, especially when I rowed, fabrics that I actually liked to row in or do endurance sports in, and then it was from that point I actually ended up with an interest in fabrics.
And of course there has been a big change in the fabrics that are available to endurance athletes. Yeah. So sometimes you have a great idea but the timing's not right. It seems like you had the great idea, and at the time that sort of there was an investment in fabrics, that you were able to take advantage of that as well.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly when we first started, it was bonkers to actually only think sort of 10 to 12 years ago. Everyone was wearing like cotton leggings, yeah. Cotton suits, and then I guess it was with triathlon. It's a very young market. Encouraged more stretch product. I guess now they call it. Some people loosely call it compression, but it's actually coming up from that point was the change of actually people just to get people out of basic cottons, and then I guess the dramatic change has really been in the past 5 years for us. Was when we actually worked with the Royal Parks on the project for now. It's everyone knows about it, which is the Royal Parks Half Marathon, where they actually asked us to come up with a solution, which was, first of all, they asked for sustainability, and then a technical shirt. But I decided actually what I want is a technical product, a technical fabric which just happens to be sustainable, and that's where the original concept of the carbonised bamboo on the inside and then the recycled bottles on the outside came from. And because they're also a very innovative companies to actually work with, I came up with Vapor X, and that's where they gave us the first order for the half marathon, put a lot of faith into us, but then working with us really, really closely over the past 5 years, we've continued to grow with them with the half marathon.
So if I wear this product, does that mean I can sort of have my own carbon credits?
You could offset yourself, actually, yeah, you could. Instead of like putting loads of trees in. Yeah. No, it doesn't mean you can still drive a big Hummer. It's supposed to make you consider everything on the way. But we do try, and every element of what we do. I think it's more with my dad was a baker, so he used to use up everything. So that's the main sort of ethos that we have. We actually have our fabric to manufacture to shipping is all done with a very tight 50-mile circle.
Yeah.
And we all know each other. We're all friendly with each other. Well, as much as we always can. And then that's we trace every element of manufacture through to the consumer, and we try and pass that on to the consumer as well.
I think that's a brilliant concept, and it always makes me chuckle slightly when people think they're being eco-friendly by eating this product or that product that's flown halfway around the world.
I know, it's absolutely yes, but you get but that is the nuts part of it. It's like we all sort of go, right, we're going organic, and then you actually look at it and it's flown in from South Africa. It's like, well, you've got to be sensible about this. It's like, you're not suddenly changing the world by flying something in. You might as well just buy locally.
Yeah.
It's not a...
Well, you talk about, I'll buy an eco car, I'll buy a Nissan Leaf, right?
Yeah.
But the parts, it's been made here, then it's been sent there, then it's been shipped there. So you're having to drive the thing for 10 years in order to claw back all the miles it's done before you've actually got it.
Yeah. Okay, on that it's difficult, but I think with that one as well, you are making a conscious decision to try and... It's all about you're trying to do something. Nothing's ever perfect, and the true way of our sustainable ethos is actually everything at the front end. There's no point of having an eco fabric if you don't manufacture, you don't have the right skill set to manufacture it properly. So everything's got to be very, very well made. I mean, there are a few of our jackets, fabrics which aren't eco, but we just make sure it's a very, very, very well made garment, so it's going to last a good 10 years, because that's true sustainability.
Yeah. Well, and it's also an interesting concept to create a local economy, isn't it?
Yeah.
In your area, so that you're using local businesses, and that brings a localised wealth to the area where those people are dealing with each other, they're generating money and then ploughing that back into the local economy.
Yeah, I mean, this is truly what's happened with the Royal Parks, because we're there. I believe we're a very strong success story for them, because they put a lot of faith into us. We were, a small business, had great ideas, they backed us. We've grown threefold since then. And the true sustainability of that is now we're so excited to actually be sponsoring one of the very new events, which is the Ultra event. So for them, that is they've grown a local business, a UK business, and now we're actually feeding back into the Royal Parks.
So, what does the sponsorship of the Royal Parks Ultra mean then? That everybody's going to be wearing your kit to run around in?
Yeah, everyone will be wearing the kit. Which they do, and they do actually wear the shirts. I know last year they wore the shirts, but this year it's kind of we're actually able to put money back into the parks ourselves. So for us, it's just because we have such a strong gratitude to them for backing us, because already they were buying the product, but now we just want to put so much more back into it, and we can actually now wave the Crewroom flag at the event rather than putting someone else's branding on the shirt. Yeah. Which is the main thing behind it, and I think they're really pleased of the success that they created in us.
So, and if you're able, your shirts, you say, are from recycled water bottles.
Yes.
So is that the sort of water bottle the cyclist might be drinking out of?
No, not your regular bottle. It would just be your usual kind of water bottles. Basically, it's the cleanest form of recycling product to use. It's actually the water bottle. So
effectively, the runners could be going along. They get the water bottles.
Yeah.
They drink the water. They're cleaned up afterwards. They go in the bin. Then they're transported to the place where they recycle them, and then it comes back to them in the form of the shirt they might be wearing next year.
Funnily enough, that's a project that I'm working on at the moment, both here and that's also while I was in the States. I was actually talking to the California manufacturers, just doing a full circle over there with the race group. But the action concept, it's all of it is very, very doable, and that's what we're looking to actually do at the moment. Because at the moment the shirt is a drink it, wear it shirt, but then that is the long-term use of it. It's actually going back into the shirt, but actually what would be actually better, I think, concept is actually using the fabrics but making it into different forms of products, not just the shirts. Yeah. So yeah, we're working on that project at the moment.
Well, that is amazing, actually, really amazing that you could you could have a whole cycle of stuff that the athletes would use to end up back into the stuff they're wearing, and then obviously they'd recycle that at the end of its usage and time with them, so it can be moved on to something else.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's going back to the thing, make sure it's really well made. It's like you're seeing the park shirts now, 5 years on, you're still seeing the original shirts still being used, and there's all these bright colours going around, so exactly what we wanted. We wanted it to be their favourite shirt they pull out, rather than what goes on in a lot of races at the moment, where you get this really disposable product, which is actually pointless in receiving.
And it seems that there's got to be some responsibility from manufacturers now to encourage people not to just throw something away because it's not fashionable anymore, or that there's a new product. So what you find with telephones, mobile phones for instance, is that people are swapping them before the phone is broken or damaged, or even worn out its usability, because they want the next model. So in that way they're encouraged to create a throwaway society, whereas you're trying to do the exact opposite. But in order for us to preserve the world as we know it and love it, there's got to be some responsibility from the manufacturers to encourage that belief and philosophy within the customer.
Yes, but it's always also down to the customer. It's go back to the obese thing, isn't it? McDonald's getting seized for people being fat. At the end of the day, it's us as a consumer that have to be more considered in what we buy. We have to stop buying cheap all the time, which is a real problem in the UK, which is our landfill problem, the wear it once, throw away kind of thing. You know, we're all responsible for this.
Yeah, I agree, but it has to come from somewhere, and some manufacturers don't promote that philosophy, and some do. You seem to be more responsible in that.
Yeah, I mean that's just my conscious way of doing things. I just don't like waste. I guess it's just it's just being a bit more conservative in that kind of way, because I'd rather have something, which is what we've done from the very beginning, is all which people have, which go on and on and on and on.
So the Royal Parks Ultra takes place in...
That's the 6th of October. I was just trying to remember that. Thank you, Alex, for telling me a moment ago. Yeah, that's the 6th of October, and it's a 50k race, which starts at Hyde Park, ends up in Bushy Park, and it's kind of like it's actually an urban trail run. It's absolutely beautiful. So it goes from Hyde all the way through, and then you go down the towpath, so you're skirting through Putney, and then you end up in Bushy Park, which is just I just think it's actually a wonderful run.
Will you be there? Will you be at the end, handing out the medals?
I'll be there at the end. I don't think I'll be handing out the medals. I think there'll be someone a bit more famous than me doing that. But yeah, to me, I love the Royal Parks event. It's just such a great event. It's busy.
And how many athletes would you be expected to take part in?
In the Ultra this year, it's going to go up to, I think, just shy of 1,000 this year, which for an Ultra is actually a really big number. And then they're doing a steady growth from year on year out from that, and they've actually also increased the half marathon numbers. I think that's up to almost like 25,000 now. It's grown to a huge event from the original event that had 10,000.
Great. Well, listen, it's an amazing concept you've got there. It sounds like an amazing partnership you've got with the Royal Parks. Wish you all the best with that.
Thank you very much.
Good luck with your brand, and hopefully we'll see you again in the future.
Thank you very much, sir.